Hello, everybody. It is I, Sankoku, and I am hoping that you all had a great Christmas and a great New Year. And I hope and pray that this year is going to be better than the last year. And I really, really need this year to be better than the last year. Quite honestly, the last 2 years have been just really, really hard, really difficult. Um, sure, there have been some good things that happened over the last 2 years, but for the most part, they have been really awful for me. And as you could probably tell by the title of this video, my heart is destroyed and all my dreams are dead. That these last couple of years have really, worn on me and have really taken a toll on my mental health. And the the name may be a little bit overkill, somewhat histrionic perhaps, but I think the feeling is pretty accurate. Anyways, so I have been debating on whether or not I should make this video, and I've decided that I'm going to, because of a few different reasons. One of those reasons is that I know that there are people who watch my videos, who have maybe some concerns, maybe some worries, or maybe are just curious as to what has been going on. And this should give them some insight into that. It should give some insight to my mindset and perhaps some reasons on why things have been going on with me and this channel as they have. Another reason is that I want to find a way to heal, find a way to feel better, to stop hurting. And I want to share my experience, and I want to get my voice out there into the world, into the universe. And part of it is also that I want to work through my feelings, and I want to talk about my feelings. And talking to oneself, which is perfectly fine and can do good things, but having this feeling like I'm talking to a person or people and having them listen is a different feeling altogether. And so this is the freest therapy that I can have. But another thing is I want to be heard, because I feel like in a certain situation I haven't had a chance to adequately voice my side, defend myself, and answer things, accusations, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah. So this is about, of course, the situation that I've been in with a certain woman for basically the past couple of years. Woman the situation that I have talked about in several videos and live streams, and that situation, for lack of a better term, came to an official end back in the middle of September last year, 2025. And even though that was, I guess you would say, the official, I mean, it was over before that, honestly, and probably for all intents and purposes was over long before that. By the time that it happened, I had already stopped meaningful interactions with this person for a couple weeks. Really, the only interactions that I was doing was being polite, acknowledging their existence, wave hi, say good morning, walk into a room where they are, acknowledge them, hey. I did not bring an official ending. She decided to do something that I found to be crossing a line with me. And so it ended in a way, not quite the worst case scenario, but dang close to the worst case scenario. So it ended badly. There was a lot of bad blood. There's a lot of hurt, hard feelings, anger, resentment, as well as pain and sorrow. And I really wanted to make this video and talk about it to help get my feelings out. But I made a conscious effort to not do it, to wait a period of time. Because if I would have done it within a week, within a couple weeks, even within a month, this video would have been an all-out assault. I would have read her the riot act. I would have called her every name in the book. I would have been mean-spirited, unforgiving. I would be hateful because there was a lot of hate. There's a lot of anger. When it happened, I was very hurt. I felt betrayed. I felt personally attacked. And I was very angry. And I did not want to see her. I did not want her in my vision. I did not want to hear her face. I did not want to hear her name. If I would see her face, I hear her voice, her name even gets brought up. Even if it's not her, it's someone who has the same name. It would just trigger such a emotional in me. And so I did what I could to avoid her for at least like a month and a half, maybe longer, where, if I saw her, I was going the other way. If we were heading towards each other, I'm turning around and going wherever, if I knew she was in a certain area, I avoided that area. Anyone brought her up, and I was like, come on, just can we not? Because I was that upset. I was that angry. I was that hurt. And I just wanted nothing about her in my life. I was done, 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 done. And it would have been so easy for me to just give into the hate and just hate her and revile her and blame her for everything and make her the ultimate villain and denigrate her and trash her. And I'm not saying that there weren't times where I was hateful and spiteful, because there was. But I tried hard to not be. And I still try hard, but I fail, of course, because there's a lot of emotions, and it's easy to just, be angry and mean. But I don't want to hate her. I don't want to hate her. I don't want to wish her any bad things in her life. I truly want her to be happy. I truly want her to live her dreams, to find joy, to find contentment, to find her way, to find herself, to heal herself, to be good, to be well, both mentally and physically. I want her to live her best life. I do. It's the truth. I do. Whether I'm anywhere near that is irrelevant. I want her to be good. I don't want her to suffer. I don't want her to live a bad life. So as time progressed, the anger and the hate started going down. I mean, it's still there. And now mostly it's just sadness, regret, pain. It still hurts. It still hurts. And I made an effort to try to grow up in a way, not to be so childish. I still kind of avoid her, but if we're walking going in the same directions, I'm just try not to look at her. I try to get to a point where she's just another person, just another random person. And it's hard because even after everything, I still care about her, even though I shouldn't. And I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't have fallen in love with her. I wish I didn't. I wish I could have kept my heart closed and hardened it, and I wish these feelings would just be gone. But easy come, not easy go, apparently. And that makes it even more difficult because there's a part of me that still cares about her. There's a part of me that still loves her. Part of me that still is concerned about her well-being, concerned about whether or not the other way is a problem. Like, she sees me. How does she feel about that? Is she going through pain? Is she going through problems because of that? She sees me. Is it like bad for her? And in a way, it pains me to think that, because I don't want to be a reason for someone to have a bad day. I don't want to be a reason for someone to feel bad. I don't want to be a reason for someone to not want to be where they are. If I can't be a positive, I want to be at least a neutral. So that makes it hard too. So what happened, I guess, is probably the big question. And honestly, I think the best way to have the full context is to just start from the beginning. So, even like 3 years ago, before all this, it was maybe 4 years, whatever. I was a gruff, cynical, Grizzly Adams, like my beard was all out of control, guy who was very introverted and was very unapproachable. And I became friends with this woman who was it was her mission to get me married, to get me married off. God bless her. Good luck, woman. Apparently, still a failure in that situation. So she, helped me clean up, get like a better wardrobe, all this stuff. Start wearing cologne, be more approachable, come out of my shell, get me to be less introverted. And in ways it was successful. I became a bit more personable, especially at work, and was a bit more talkative. And part of that more talkative me was talking with another individual, the woman in question. And we, weren't like friends. We were just like acquaintances that we would just have some short conversations and stuff like that. And, nothing like big. It's just we knew of each other and we were positive toward each other. So I had been kind of crushing on, I don't know if that's a good term, crushing on some woman. I liked a certain woman. I had feelings for a certain woman, and it was a different woman. And my friend, who was trying to get me married, didn't like her, or at least she didn't like the idea of me and her. She didn't think she was the right woman for me. And so she was kind of trying to get me, to not think, get away and focus my attention somewhere else. And so she suggested that I ask out the woman in the situation. And of course, I initially blew it off, was like, no way, no way. I think I made the joke that, she is so out of my league, we're not even playing the same sport. My survival instinct, make a joke. Self-deprecating joke, because, and really, I didn't really think about it. She was never on my radar, honestly. First of all, I thought she was much younger than she actually is. And there were certain demographic differences that I would have thought that would make it difficult to relate, to find commonalities, and honestly, there wasn't any kind of spark or any kind of wow, ooh, something about this woman, right? There wasn't. I think by design, she dressed very plainly, because I don't think she didn't really want attention, and so she was very effective at that. And I understand that. I'm not saying that she wasn't beautiful. She is. She was. She is. Still is. But it wasn't like, ooh, she didn't necessarily exude sexuality, sexiness, things like that. And I'm sure that's by choice. So I kind of dismissed the idea. But I ended up talking to her more and more, and got to know her more. And I started to find out that we actually had more commonalities than I thought, and that there were things that we could relate to each other more than I had previously believed. And one of the things is movies. She likes movies, she likes watching movies, and even though she's not big on horror, she doesn't mind horror. She likes the Scream series, and so the movie Five Nights at Freddy's was coming out, and she was interested in that movie. I myself never played any of the games, but I have watched a lot of the game theory episodes, so I was very fascinated by the lore and story of the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. So there was a certain interest and curiosity on my end. And so I decided, well, maybe I'll ask her to watch the movie. And I thought, what did I have to lose? Because I was not emotionally invested in her in any real way. Like, she was just a friendly person that I got along with. And so I thought, because I was expecting her to say no. I was completely expecting her to say no, and I figured she'll say no. That's the end of it, and it shouldn't hurt because there's no investment in there. And then I can go back to my friend and go, see, she didn't even want to go, so there you go. So I ended up asking her, and I was nervous as all hell, even though I had nothing invested in it. And I clumsily, nervously asked her if she wanted to go, and she said yes. And so we went, had a good time, enjoyed the movie. It wasn't the greatest movie, but it was all right. It was entertaining. And I drove her home, and she said, hey, we should do this again sometime. And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. And that was it. Went home, that was fun, but didn't really feel anything different. But I decided, well, one success, let's see what happens. So decided to ask her to do something, to go to the mall, to do some Christmas shopping around the Christmas time, and was very nervous about it. Once again, kind of like nervously fumbled and, I'm so bad at this, and just, and she said yes, again, to my surprise. However, we didn't end up going to the mall because it was kind of a bad idea. It was super busy. She was working that same day, and well, she didn't feel like, and I completely understand, she didn't feel like walking around a busy mall for like a couple of hours doing some shopping, and I completely understand and really wasn't surprised. But it was positive situations. Then New Year's happens. Christmas comes. I gave her a gift. I think it was a Funko Pop that I think that's what it was. that she had said previously that she was interested in, and so I bought it as a Christmas gift, and I kind of did that as like sort of a test to see like, sometimes you give a gift to someone and they go, oh, I don't feel comfortable accepting this, they might, but no problems, which, kind of sent a message to me that like, oh, she's all right with me giving her gifts. So, and all the while, we started talking to each other more and more. And the way she treated and interacted with me changed during this. She became more like she would smile when she sees me. She would say hi. She started to come to me to start conversations. She would kind of playfully, make noises to get my attention. Even sometimes try to like sneak up on me. She was very playful. I remember one time talking with her, and she was just smiling at me, and I'm just like, what? And she's just like, nothing. And so I was getting like a sense that she liked me, that she was kind of into me. And so New Year's happens. I buy gift cards to restaurants for family members, and you get these bonus things or whatever. And so I wanted to spend these bonus things because you had to do it in a certain period of time. So it's like, hey, why don't I take you to dinner? Go dinner at this place. And she said yes. And so we planned, picked her up from work, took her to the dinner. We had a nice dinner. We talked for a long time after that. We stayed there for a while. It was it was a great time. Really got to know more about her. There's certain things you can talk about in certain situations, and then there's certain things you can have deeper, more involved conversations. Like, so, talking at work is kind of difficult because you can't just have long and drawn out deep conversations all the time because you'll get in trouble. But at a restaurant, you can definitely dive deep and learn a lot more about somebody. And it was a good dinner. And I started to really get a more well-rounded sense of her. And I started to become concerned because it felt to me, the signals that I was getting was that, she liked me, that she really liked me, and that I still was kind of like not sure about her. Like, there still wasn't like any kind of like real feelings, any real, like, not like romantic feelings or things like that. Like, I couldn't even like kind of imagine and picture myself like kissing her, or I couldn't put it together. And so I was beginning to be concerned, like, what if like she falls for me and I never get any feelings, and then I'm like friend zoning, and I don't like that. I hate that. And I don't want to, hurt her. So what do I do? And I'm like, well, you still like her, and you enjoy being with her, and you enjoy talking to her. And there might be something there. You should just keep going. See what can happen. Famous mistakes again, right? So I decide I still had like some more gift card rewards, and there was a restaurant that I wanted to try that was part of the rewards. They serve chicken parmesan, and I really love chicken parmesan, and this restaurant was right near this big mall where I live. And so I said, hey, you know, would you like to go to this restaurant? Have you ever been to this restaurant before? It's like, no. I was like, would you like to go to this restaurant? She's like, yeah, sure. And said, okay, so let's, like, it's by the mall. Like, we can, you know, go to the restaurant, go to the mall, or go to the mall, go to the restaurant. You know, we kind of make a day thing. Spend the whole day together, and it will be fun. And so we decided to do it. And so kind of planned it ahead of time. And in the time moving on towards that, I got more and more excited about it. I got more and more like, ooh, it's almost, you know, it's a week away. Ooh, it's a couple days away. Ooh, it's soon. And I even talked to her about it, and she was excited for it too. So, and I think some of this energy really, you know, helped when it comes to my feelings for her. And though when I think about it now, because did I somehow psych myself into falling for her? Was my concern about hurting her, my concern about her liking me and me not really liking her in that way, did that like work in some sort of psychological way? Did I like push myself into this? I don't know. God, that would, you know, it would figure that, you know, something crappy like that would happen. Like I would manipulate my own self into like, oh God, that's just awful. If I wasn't concerned about her feelings, if I was an asshole, would have never had this problem, right? Would that be the situation? Like, I don't know. Well, anyways, like in the anticipation of this date, I was getting excited, and it happened, and we decided to, you know, go to the mall first and then eat, and we go to the mall. And we're going through a bunch of the stores, you know, and I buy her a smoothie, and, you know, we're just having fun talking to each other, talking about the stores that we're in, talking about this and that. And we end up in the Barnes and Noble. And she's going through these art books. There was one with like pictures of, you know, beautiful places like tropical island, whatever. And she was talking about like, oh man, I would love to go here and I would love to go there. And when she was talking about that, I just had this feeling like man, I really want to get her there. I really want to be able to take her to these places. I really want to, you know, basically she was dreaming and I wanted to make her dreams come true. It became a desire for me to make her dreams come true. So I think that was probably the point that it started to turn. And we moved our way to the media section where they had the movies and the records. And she was kind of going through some of the records, and we were talking about the different, you know, bands and artists and whatnot. And I had just this feeling, this overwhelming feeling of calm and peace and contentment. Like, this is it. This is what I want. I have no need for anything else in my life. I want to be with her. I want to be with her for the rest of my life. Like that. I was in love. She didn't have to do anything spectacular. She didn't have to, seduce me. She didn't have to do anything except be there and talk about her dreams and her wants and her life. And for a long time after that, I tried to convince myself that it wasn't true. It wasn't real. My feelings were wrong. But that's what it was. And it was so pure. There was nothing physical about it. There was nothing sexual about it. I wanted her to be in my life. I didn't want her body. I wanted her mind and her essence and her presence. We went on to the restaurant. I had the chicken parmesan. I think she had like a steak. I ordered fried calamari. She was very against the idea of eating squid, but I got her to try it, get her out of her comfort zone, and she tried it and she liked it, and I was feeling really good about everything, and I asked her, like, hey, night's still young, do you want to go back to my place? And I had to tell her, so another context about my life. My parents had some financial problems and they lost their house. And so my parents live with me in my house. And that has been kind of a problem for me socially because oh, you live with your parents, well, what a loser, basement dwelling, mama's boy, yada yada, failure in life, loser. It's like, take a girl back home, you gotta meet my folks, right? It's like, it's not great socially, and that's one of the many thousands of reasons I'm single. But I love them, and it's great because my brother lives across the street and they can see their grandchild all the time, and it was kind of nice not to be alone, to have folks do some things. Of course, unfortunately, my mother passed away, so it's just me and my dad. But anyway, so I said, like, if we go to my house, my parents are going to want to talk to you, meet you. And she agreed, and we went, and she met my parents and talked to them for a while, went back down to my den of debauchery, and she was kind of impressed by my movie collection, and we talked a lot about stuff in these movies. We ended up watching Top Gun because Top Gun Maverick came out recently, or within a year or two, whatever. Anyways, so we watched that. It's a great date movie. It's romantic, but it's got action. It's fun. It's good. We sat on the couch, watched it, and then it was late, and I drove her home, walked her to the door of her apartment. And at this time, I wanted to tell her how I felt, because I thought that she felt the same way and I wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear it. I wanted to confirm it. And so, I said we had a good time. It was great. We should do it again. All that stuff. And I said, because we had to walk all the way up these stairs, and I'm like, well, my heart is racing, and I don't know if it's because of the stairs or, but I just want to say that I really like you. I really like you a lot. And the look of disappointment on her face, and the shoulders drooping, and kind of almost sad sigh, and then she goes and like, Rich, you're a wonderful guy. I'm like, oh no, not the wonderful guy thing. Because whenever a woman says you're a wonderful guy, she doesn't mean you're wonderful. She means you're not what I'm looking for. You are not wonderful to me. You're wonderful to some theoretical person who is not me. And I'm like, oh no. It's like, and I was just like, and then she says, look, I'm not looking for a relationship right now. And she said stuff like, I don't know, I can't remember everything. And, I was also freaking out, and my mind was just blowing up in my head. And, she said things like, she's going through some things that she's got to work through, and she's not ready for a relationship like that right now. And of course, I was just like, well, I can wait. I'm sure you'll come around. And I don't know. I freaked out, and goodbye, and I had to extricate myself out of there, and I left, got into my vehicle, drove home, and sat in the driveway for like 20 minutes just in silence and shock. And I felt horrible. Because once again, and it's worse because I would never have done that. First of all, asking her out, I would have never done that. If I knew she wasn't like looking or interested, and I would have never done it. I would have never, ever done it. And if I didn't think that she liked me in that way, I would have never said anything to her. I would have never said a single word. I would have liked her in secret. I would have loved her in secret, and I would have just been on the outskirts hoping that one day she'd give me, an indication that she wanted the same thing. But the problem is, I thought she wanted the same thing. And so I felt horrible because I put myself out there. I put my heart out on the line, and I fell in love, and I got smacked. Sorry. So, yeah, the next several days, weeks, I can't even remember the timeline. I was feeling really bad, and at work, it was horrible because my work doesn't always require active brains. So while I'm doing something, my brain is thinking about the situation. It's thinking about what a failure I am. It's thinking about how I blew it, how I wasted my time, how, my window is closing and my chance for having love is dwindling away. And I screwed it up, and I shouldn't have said anything. And I wish I could have gone back, and what did I do wrong? And all that stuff. And it was really hurting me, and it was really causing me a lot of distress. And I didn't immediately talk to her again after that. I was kind of told by some friends, a family member, my brother, he said, like, look, the ball's in her court. You said what you said, and if she's willing to talk to you again, she'll do it. And she wants to have like friendship with you and see where things go that way. She'll have to be the one to reach out. And I agreed with that. And so that's what I did. I didn't really, interact with her except, to be friendly. And at that time, I had been going through my old computer and was looking at my old poems, and I have always been kind of mulling over whether or not I should do something with my poems on the channel, and this felt like a great opportunity to do that. And so the series My Heart Was Broken, Here Is a Poem was created. And all those videos, by the way, are live. They're no longer private, and I'll put a link to the playlist down here in the description, or one of those card things, I don't know, anyways. And I did that in a way to just help work with my feelings. And you know what? It actually helped. It helped stabilize me. It helped me work through some of these feelings. It helped me not feel as dead and dying as I was. And eventually she did come to me and talk to me, and I explained, I was just, and she thought like, oh man, this guy, that's all he wanted was my body or whatever, because he's not talking to me now. And I was like, and it's like, it wasn't that, it was just, I didn't know what I should do. And so, we stayed friends, and we continued to talk after that. Not only did we continue to talk after that, but we started talking even more and more, and things were good between us. And I just thought, I'll be a friend, and I'll wait for her to work through the things that she's working out. And if she's ready and she's willing, we can try to see where things go. And I thought that was the understanding, and I guess she didn't realize that, but we talked, and we were very friendly, and we would continue to smile at each other and be very friendly until she watched one of my poetry videos and thought that she was being put on blast, being attacked, which is definitely not the case. Like, I definitely go, I believe I go out of my way to defend her in most every video I've ever done that is discussing anything to do with this situation. In fact, I think I've probably been more than fair to her. In some way, I believe that I have was more considerate of her feelings than my own feelings in many, many ways. And so she got angry, and whether or not that it was right for her to be angry, she was angry regardless. So I apologized, I privated the videos, and she was like, you don't have to be friends with me anymore and stuff like this. And I'm like, no, that is not, I'm not, and so I suggested that we needed to really talk and talk outside work. And so we talked at a park in town, and it was a really deep talk, and it was a good talk, and I thought, afterwards, we went to dinner. Her birthday had passed recently, and so it was like, look, this is a birthday gift, okay? I'm gonna buy you dinner for a birthday gift. It's not a date, you know. But I thought I made myself clear, because I was saying, like, look, I want to be friends with you, but yes, I have feelings for you, and I want more, yes, but I'm willing to just be friends right now, and I'm gonna hope and keep the door open that, you know, you'll eventually want to have a relationship, you know, in your life, and then you'll be like, hey, I've already got this good guy, let me try with him, right? I thought, once again, I was making that point clear, and I even asked her at that point, you know, whether or not she had feelings for me. And she said, like, I don't know. I don't think I've known you long enough, or, you know, I don't know you enough to know how I feel. Which, like, ladies, gentlemen, if I may, if you don't have feelings for someone, or you know you're not going to have feelings for someone, and they ask you that question, regardless of how you don't want to hurt them, tell them the truth, because you're going to save a lot more pain and heartache. Now, I'm not saying that she was lying here, though I think she was trying to spare my feelings, so she was not telling the truth, in my opinion, on this, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure she had feelings one way or the other about me, and that she was just trying to spare my feelings, but she really needed at that point to say, look, Rich, fuck. You didn't hear that. Look, I just don't have any feelings for you like that. I like you as a friend, and that's it, and I'm not going to want anything more. Not now, not in the future. That's what she needed to do, you know, and I guess it's probably hard to do that, and maybe it's unreasonable for me to expect her to do that, but I was asking for the truth, for honesty, for candid honesty, because I was being honest with her. But she said what she said, and the issue with that is that it keeps the door open, it keeps the window open, because when someone has feelings and emotions, their heart wants something, and it's going to, you know, there's the old phrase, the heart is deceitful above all things, and so the heart is going to try to do the things to get what it wants, and it's going to manipulate, and it's going to lie to you, and it's going to ignore logic and evidence, and it's going to grasp onto any little piece and string and strand of hope. And so this is leaving the door open, because it's like, what she's saying is, I don't know, which means I could eventually have feelings for you. I don't know you well enough, which means if I know you more, I'll be able to answer that question. So in a way, it feels like an invitation to continue on, because the door's not closed. She's not putting an end to it right there. So we go on, and she takes a trip, and when she comes back, I wanted to hear all about it, and I was going on a vacation, and on one of my days off, she had a day off, and I said, hey, you know, let's go to, there's this nature area near my house. It's like walking distance, and it's really nice. Let's go. We can walk, we can talk. You can tell me all about your trip, and you know, it's not like, you know, because it's not a date. It's, you know, friends, you know, talking and stuff like that. You know, it's no pressure, no big thing. You know? And we did, and we had fun, good time. I made her lunch, blackened catfish. I even read her a poem that I made specifically for her. It was the last poem, the last episode of the My Heart Was Broken. So here's a poem. Link in the description, whatever. It was that poem, and what that poem was, it was the love poem for her that started out as a love poem and kind of ended with me, realizing that she was never going to say the words "I love you." I was not going to hear the words from her "I love you," and it was kind of like me telling her that, like, look, I don't really have a lot of hope that we're ever gonna, end up together. And in a way, it was like I wanted her to understand my feelings, though, to understand, the things that I was going through, the struggles that I was going through with all this. Me still wanting to be friends with her, me wanting her to still be a part of my life, but also me fighting to accept that it's probably not going to happen. And, I really wanted to make a video about it and talk about those feelings and talk about that struggle. And I know how she felt about the videos before and how she got upset with them. And so I discussed with her that I wanted to release this poem and do a video. And she said, and I paraphrase because I don't know these words, but she basically was saying, like, she understood what I was doing. She agreed that it was good for me to do the videos, to get my feelings out there, to work through them, to try to heal, to try to mend. And so she just, she said that, I'm just not going to watch the videos. Okay. I'm not going to watch the videos. It's okay for you to make the videos. It's okay for you to make that video, with that poem, and I brought up the poem specifically because I kind of wanted her blessing. And so there was a time, where she had an event and she had to do a lot of preparation for this event. And I was giving her rides to this event. And I was giving her rides because, well, yes, I love her. But I also want to help her, and I also want to support her any way I can. And I wasn't doing it with any expectation of any kind of thing. I wasn't expecting any payment. I wasn't expecting any, reciprocation or anything. I wanted to just help her. And of course, also it was more time with her, so, okay, guilty as charged. I wanted to spend more time with her. I'm an asshole, obviously. How dare I? And so I make the video, and one night when I'm driving her home, I noticed when I picked her up that she was very quiet and that something was wrong. And I know that I released that video recently, and I started to suspect that she watched it. And on the ride home, she basically said that she watched it, and it was not cool. It was not cool for her to have done that. Like that, she betrayed my trust. For one thing, she betrayed my trust. She told me that she wasn't going to watch these things and that she was okay with me doing them. And then she goes ahead and watches them and not be okay with it, and then uses that as a cudgel to bludgeon me emotionally and to push me away. Like maybe she manipulated this whole situation knowing that she could easily use it to push me away, when all she needed to do to push me away was to tell me to go away, to say, just be honest and upfront and direct. But maybe she needed a reason to make it so that she's not the bad guy. Even though she was the bad guy. She hurt me. She hurt me a lot that night. And, she told me, you don't have to give me rides anymore, which is the woman's speak for don't give me rides anymore. When she says you don't have to, it means, it literally means the don't part you can ignore. You have to not give me rides anymore. So you put the don't. So you take away the don't. So the you don't have to give me rides anymore. You take away the don't, and then put the not from the don't in there. Not give me rides anymore. So you have to not give me rides anymore. That's what it was. And it was sad. It was hurtful. I felt betrayed. I felt deceived. I felt unfairly punished. The fact that she didn't even watch the whole video, so she didn't even get the whole context of it. And I truly thought that this was the end of everything. All of it was over. That she was saying goodbye forever. I mean, this is probably the moment that the situation, the whatever it was, ended. That was probably where it ended and should have ended. And it got to the point where I was so overwhelmed with pain and grief and sorrow that, after she got out of the car and she was walking to her apartment, I got out of the car. I was wearing a hat. I flung my hat up in the air, fell to my knees. I was wearing shorts at the time, and so it was kind of dumb and painful, but I was overwhelmed with emotion, and I let out a primal cry. I cried out in pain and in agony. She describes it as a yell. She described it as me yelling at her, and I wasn't even facing her direction. I was facing away, and I was screaming to the sky because I couldn't hold all in anymore. It had to come out, and it was a cry of agony, a cry of despair, a cry of hurt. And then I got up and turned and looked at her, and she's just staring at me, and I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you just gonna? You're the one who killed me. You're the one who destroyed me. You're the one who stabbed me in the heart, and you're looking at me like that. You're gawking at the destruction. This is what you wrought. You did this. Why are you confused? Why are you what? What more do you want from me? You want me to tear more of my heart out? I was upset. I was destroyed. I left, went home, and, privated all the videos. And got drunk and made one of the big mistakes. I got drunk and was on a live stream, and oh my God, it was horrible. Who knows who watched it? And actually, my sister-in-law watched it and was worried that I was going to commit suicide. And it was just, it was bad. It was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done it. But anyways, and things were definitely awkward at work. And things were bad, and I was avoiding her, and and she looked like she was upset that I was avoiding her, and I told her, I'm doing this because I think that's what you want. Is that what you want? And she's like, no, it's not. And so we gradually started talking to each other again. I apologized. I apologized when I shouldn't have apologized because I did nothing wrong, honestly. She should have apologized to me because she's the one who did something wrong. But once again, I put her feelings up higher than my own. Once again, she gets offended by something that I did that she probably shouldn't have gotten angry with or offended with. And I end up apologizing for doing something that I did, not for doing anything wrong, but just because she was hurt. And so continued on, she still had to prepare for the event, and I continued to give her support and energy the way that I could. I wasn't giving her rides anymore, but I was, texting her, hey, here's some energy and stuff like that, and just being very supportive any way that I could, because like I said, I care about her, I love her, and I want her to be successful. I want her dreams to come true. And she was very receptive of these things. And before the event happens, she's like, she comes to me and she's like, I'm going to see you there, right? I'm going to see you there. And I'm like, well, I don't know if you're going to see me because, it's going to be dark. And it's like, no, I'm going to see you there. Definitely. I'm going to see you. You're coming. You're coming to the event. She was dead set on me being there. And it's like, yes, I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm here to support you. And the event happens, and it was great. Afterwards, give me a hug, take pictures with each other, and it was good. And then the way she treated me after that night was completely different. This is when she started really ignoring me. Not ignoring me, but just treating me differently. Almost as if like she needed my support for this event. She needed my energy and stuff like that. And now that the event happened, like, I don't need you anymore. I don't need your support. I don't need your friendship. I don't need any part of you anymore. So fuck off. Because that's kind of how it felt. She started to not come talk to me. Like I had to initiate every conversation since that point. And what really hit me was I went on vacation. It was a long vacation, so I hadn't seen her for like 2 weeks. And when I came back from vacation, normally she would be happy to see me and ask me about, how was the vacation and talk to me. And she just walked, my first day back, she just walked right by me. Didn't say hi, didn't acknowledge me, nothing. Like I didn't even exist. And she continued to do that from that point. And I mean, so really in it was just like I was kind of in shock by it. I was kind of like, okay, what's going on? And so I'm like, okay, I guess she doesn't want to talk to me. And so, I kind of like gave her more space. But I kind of wanted to see, like, what was up, what's going on. Like, maybe she was going through something, I don't know. But I was very put off by that. And eventually, I started, slowly, talking to her again. And I thought, okay, maybe things are okay. Maybe she just was really tired from the event, and stuff like that. But the dynamic really changed. And I think this was when I was starting to really think about, like, just, like, giving up, like, completely. Like just trying to find a way to just not be involved anymore. This is when I started looking up ways to not love anyone anymore, to how to fall out of love with someone, how to not love anyone anymore, to not think about them, not care about them. I started looking into it, doing research, and of course, the things that I find out is like, one of the ways is to gaslight yourself and to convince yourself that you never loved them in the first place. And I kind of already tried that, and honestly, lying to yourself is not good because it doesn't get rid of the feelings. You just lie to yourself, but the feelings are still there, and eventually the truth is going to win out. So there's that. The other thing was to find someone else to love. And they were saying, like, love yourself, and I'm like, loving oneself is fine, it's great, but it's not fulfilling. It's not. It's loving yourself is like masturbation. I mean, it is. It feels good, but you're not accomplishing anything. You're not making real connections with people. You're not having that real experience with a person, and when you put yourself above everybody else, you become conceited and a selfish bastard, and it's not healthy for anyone, and it's not healthy for society. You need to love someone, and you need to have someone that you put their feelings above your own. That's what you do. Like when you have a child, that's what you're supposed to do. That's, you have to have like a level of selflessness for society and relationships to work. Anyways, so and I had a problem, like, find someone else to love. Like, easier said than done. Like, I can't. It's not like there's a lineup of women waiting for me, and plus it feels bad because it's like I'm using someone else to get over somebody else, and whether or not that's bad or not, I mean, it's kind of what's happening, and I know that women and men don't like to be that person, or only dating you because I'm trying to forget someone else. That just, is a feel bad. So, and then the other is to end up like, another way is to just get them completely out of your life. Don't think about them. Don't talk to them. And it's like, and that's not an option because I see her like, 3 days out of the week, and it's just like I can't just get away from this person, and so that's just not an option. I mean, I have to quit my job and move out of the city. I don't know. It just So the other option is to hate them, and I don't want to hate them, but in the last couple months, I realized how effective hating someone is at getting you not to love them as much. But I didn't want to do that. I don't want to hate someone. I don't want to do that. So I felt like I was in a trap, and worse. During this time, while she was treating me like a nobody, a non-human. I got sick, and then my mom died. And I really needed someone outside of my family that I could lean on. And I was hoping that I could lean on her a little. And I was hoping, and my heart was really broken and distraught, and was really hoping that I could work out with her. It was hard for me to let go at that time because I needed hope at that moment. During that time, holidays were coming up. It would be the first Thanksgiving, the first Christmas without my mother. I was at a Christmas party, and there was a dance, and people are dancing, and I'm sitting there all by myself, and I know this is the first year my dad is not dancing with my mom, and it was just so sad and overwhelming, and it was tearing me apart, and I felt like such a failure in my life, because one of the things I wanted to do was to get married before my mother died, before my parents died, so that they knew I was happy, know that I was having my life. And I felt like such a failure because I didn't get to do that, and my mom died not knowing if I was going to be happy, not knowing if I was going to have a family of my own, and it was killing me, it was tearing me apart, it was destroying me. And I needed hope. So I held on to hope for her, with her. And I was falling apart, and I was just trying to keep it together. And at work, I was trying to keep it together. I was trying not to. And, I needed her smile. I needed her warmth to help me through this. And it was just so hard. It was just so hard. And New Year's comes around, and she's still treating me the way that she is. And I wanted to just talk to her and ask her, like, what am I now? What am I now? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want me to do? And I couldn't have that conversation at work. But she all of a sudden was like, we should just talk only at work, and it's like, we can't, interact outside. It's like I'm like, why is that? I'm like, what is it? Why are you pushing me away? What is it? Are you afraid that I was getting close to you? Was that it? Are you so hell-bent on not being in a relationship that you have to push anyone who gets close to you away because you got to keep yourself safe or whatever? You're just so scared of that? Was that the reason? So something happened, and I had to do something for work, and it involved me not having access to my phone, and there's not really like clocks around everywhere, and so and I was going to get out about the same time she was, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity that after that we can go to this place right by work, get some smoothies and just have that conversation. It was, it's not really, and of course I knew she was going to say no about it, and she basically strung me along by, because I brought it up like a week or two in advance, and she goes, I don't know, we'll see. Like, no, you fucking liar. Sorry, I like, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. What? You knew you were not going to say yes, and I knew the minute you said that, you were basically saying no. Why don't you just be honest and upfront and just say no? Why you gotta play fucking games? Anyways, so that day I asked her, like, so you want to do that? And she's like, no, I'm not feeling like, and I understand. It's like, I can't have that conversation. I'm still twisting in the wind of not knowing what I am and what I should be doing in regards to you. But because I didn't have my phone and I didn't have time, and since she was leaving about the same time I was leaving, I asked her for a simple thing. I asked her one simple thing. I said, hey, before you leave, come find me and say, hey, I'm leaving, it's time to go. And She said, okay. And she left without finding me and without telling me. Later, I found out that she told somebody else to do it, but that's not the point. Point is, I trusted you. I gave you that responsibility, and you accepted. If you could have said no, and then I would have had to find some other way. But since you said yes, I trusted you, I believed you, and you betrayed that trust. You betrayed that trust. And I only asked for what would be considered the very bare minimum. Like, it was so inconsiderate. Like, I'm not even a coworker at that point. What the hell am I? You can't even say, oh, hey, it's time to go. You can't even do that. You can't even do that. For all intents and purposes, that was the end. That was the end. I was so angry and so hurt and so betrayed. I stopped talking to her. And part of what I stopped talking to her was to see if she would talk to me. If she would be like, hey, this is weird, he's not talking to me, maybe something's wrong. Reach out. Show that you care a little bit. And she didn't. For about 3 weeks, I didn't talk to her. And as the time was progressing, I saw her seemingly angry that I wasn't talking to her. And then seemingly sad that I wasn't talking to her. But she couldn't approach me. She could not, treat me like a human being and say, hey, what's up? And I was and I started to struggle. Really, I was struggling with this decision because I felt like I was hurting her. Once again, I was putting her feelings above my feelings. And I was starting to I should talk to her because, oh my God, she thinks I hate her. She thinks, I'm hurting her. I know she's been through things. And, I don't want to jeopardize her mental health, and I don't want to jeopardize her healing. And if this is hurting her, I should, I was agonizing over it. I was making myself feel horrible because of it. And so I decided to write a letter. I wrote a letter to her. I wrote a letter, explained my feelings, and I wrote it in such a way to make sure that, it was still uplifting to her, that I was, not dragging her down, not blaming her, but, trying to still be uplifting and reaffirming of her, making sure that she knows she's not being hated, to know that, I don't hate her, that I still love her, that I still care about her, that I still want her in my life, but it's up to you now. It's up to you. You need to make the decisions. I have no agency in any of this. You need to make the call. And if it's goodbye, then I wish you well and everything. And I'm glad that I got to know you and all that stuff. And if it's not, then I look forward to talking to you again and being friendly. And I gave her that letter. And I don't know what she did with that letter. I don't know if she read the letter. I don't know if she read all of it, or read just some of it, got mad and crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. I don't know. I don't know. But if she did read the letter, it seems like she didn't understand the letter, because she wrote a response letter to me, and everything that my letter was, her letter was the opposite. Her letter was an all-out attack, an all-out assault on me, blaming me for basically everything, telling me that everything I did was wrong, and that all of her actions were completely justified because she needs to heal and she needs to become whole, and so everything she does is to that end, and so that end justifies all the means. And that I was being unfair by asking her to treat me like a human being. That I was putting undue pressure on her, which, like, I giving her all the decision making. I was going all the way out, walking on eggshells for this woman, trying to figure out how to navigate my existence around her. And I was the one that was being unreasonable, and I was the one, that she had to walk on eggshells for me. Why? What? You weren't being very considerate of my feelings for like the last half year. How could you be walking on eggshells around me? You're not, it's just, it was so wrong. Like, she was attributing motives and actions to me that were completely unreal. And, she went and talked about certain events, and I'm like, were we in the same place? What? She read a whole bunch of things wrong. She assumed a whole bunch of things wrong. She believed a whole bunch of things wrong. And I was really angry reading this entire letter. And only at the end, she maybe a tiny bit was like considerate of my feelings, while my letter to her was once again probably more considerate about her feelings than my own. So here we are. Dun-dun-dun. I was very upset. And this was probably a mistake, because I should have just had a talk with her and went line by line through her attack letter and say, no, that was not the case, and this is the case. That was not true. This is what it is. This is, and just, go through and complete. But I didn't want to have that conversation. I didn't want to have a fight. I didn't want to. So I wanted to just, let things go. And finally ask the question that I wanted to ask for half a year plus. So I straight up asked her, what do you want? What do you want me to do? And she goes, we can still talk. You liar. What am I supposed to believe? And so, once again, another answer that is leading me on to a conclusion that isn't true. You're trying to spare my feelings again, even though you didn't spare my feelings in that letter. But I guess in real person, you definitely didn't want a confrontation. In real life, you definitely didn't want to just say, hey, go away. I think we should just stop talking to each other. I think we should just stop interacting, That's what you should have said. But no, we can still talk. We can still be work friends. It's... And I took your word for it. I thought, fine, we're good. You understood my feelings, and I understand your feelings, and we can be friendly at work, and we can continue to talk. But that wasn't the case, because she continued to treat me like an inhuman insect. continued to not acknowledge my existence, rarely starting a conversation with me. And once again, I'm like confused because it's like you say you want to talk, but it seems like you don't want to talk. And once again, I'm trying to figure out what is going on, and I'm walking through this minefield of, should I talk to you? Should I not talk to you? Should I say hi to you? Should I not say hi to you? Should I acknowledge your existence? Should I ignore you? And it just was destroying me. And honestly, I should have just walked away right then and there. I should have just said, no, you don't want to talk. Goodbye. But I didn't, because I still wanted some hope that things could work out. Stupid fucking heart. So, continued to talk. And you continued to be like a brick wall. And you continued to treat me like a nobody. And all this time, it was just pain. It was just pain. It was sorrow. And I was cracking up. And I was having trouble containing myself. And I was struggling to keep it all together. And, and just like it was wearing on me. It was wearing on me. I noticed every time she walked by like an icy fucking wind. Not even looking my way. What am I? The fuck am I? And that's what I really decided that, you know what, I'm getting on these dating apps. I've got to find someone else. I've got to find anybody to get my mind off of this person. And I did. I got into a dating app. Matched up with somebody. They turned out to be a fucking fraud, scammer, wasted a week of my life, tried to emotionally manipulate me, had me starting to believe that things could work out, and then, buy cryptocurrency. Oh, fuck you, bitch. I come back from vacation, and I tell her about my experience. And it was like talking to a fucking brick wall. Like, it felt like she would rather be in another universe than hear the story of me getting, catfished and trying to get scammed. And the thing is, I was fishing for some, some empathy. I was fishing for some sympathy, and what I got was someone who couldn't give a shit, who wanted to get out of that conversation as fast as she could. And the next day, we were both going to the same place, and I held the door open for her. And it was unusual because she doesn't normally work that day, and apparently she was starting a new schedule. And, I held the door open for her. I think she said thanks, but she did not look at me, not slow down, no acknowledgement except for, thanks. And then I said, oh, you're here today, and she kept going and said, yeah. And we're not breaking stride, and I'm like, oh, it's because of the new schedule. And, she just kept going to where she was, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe she's busy, right? And so I go to do my thing, and not only like a minute later, I'm coming back, and she's there standing and talking to some other person and being all happy and giddy, and I'm like, oh, maybe she wasn't in a hurry. She's got plenty of time to talk to this person and acknowledge their existence and be all happy about it. But not me. Can't even stop and look at me. Can't even slow down. And that was the point where I was like, I'm done with you. I am done with you. That was the point. That was the point that I'm like, I am done with you. I am completely done. And I stopped talking to her. Because I was like, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my emotions on this person? This person doesn't deserve my love. This person doesn't deserve my feelings. They don't deserve my care. They don't deserve my time. They don't deserve my effort. They obviously don't want it. And why am I letting her hurt me every fucking day of my life? Why am I allowing this to happen? Why am I allowing her to do this to me? Fuck this. I'm done. I'm out. And for like a week, I like avoided her, like avoided her. You know? Made sure just like I'm not even going to be around her. I'm not. But then, once again, it looked like she was being upset. And that she was being unhappy. That I wasn't talking to her again. Which is like, what do you want from me? You're upset that I talk to you. You're upset when I don't talk to you. What is it? What the fuck is it? So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to talk to her. But I'm also not going to be like her. I'm going to treat her like a human being. So if she's walking by, I'm not going to avoid her. But if she's walking by, I'm going to say, hey, hi. You know, good morning. If I'm going to walk into a room and she's going to be in that room, I'm going to not ignore her. I was going to say hi. In fact, like a week and a half into that, I came into the break room. She was sitting there. And I was like, okay, what do? I could leave. I could just have my break and pretend that she's not there, completely ignore her. Or I could be nice and say, hey. And I said, hey. And she said, I don't want to talk right now. I'm like, it's okay. I mean, I wasn't going to talk to you anyways. I was just saying hi to be nice. You know, treat people like a fucking human. It's a new concept. You should try it sometime. I don't know. So, but I wasn't going to start a conversation with her. I wasn't going to talk to her. I was just going to be like, hi, good morning. That's it. She was going to just be another person. And then basically like almost 3 weeks into that, I was talking to one of my friends. She walks by, good morning. And she looked at me like, well, what the fuck are you doing? And then, like, you know, I walk past her because I was going to do something. And she stops me. She stops me. And starts a conversation. The first time she's done that in, like, months. Months. She acknowledges me and starts a conversation for me for the first time in months. And to do what? To accuse me of telling lies about her. Bull fucking shit, woman. I did not tell any lies about you to anyone. Not to my friends, not to my family, not to you guys on the internet, not to her friends, not to her family, not to her, not to anyone. Where are you even coming up with this idea? I have no fucking clue, but I definitely was not telling lies about you. Like, what the heck? And I was so upset. So after all this time, you come to talk to me and you're basically leveling bullshit allegations against me. What the fuck? And I'm just like, no, like I do not tell lies. And she's like, oh, I'm like, well, you know, I'm not gonna get a fight. You know, it's like I'm not gonna go and fight. I'm not having this conversation. Maybe I should have. You know, this was my opportunity to defend myself, and I didn't take it. But it's because I didn't want to make a scene, and I didn't want to have a fight. This was not the place for this. You know, she wants to have this conversation. We can have it outside of work. But she goes and she does this. And I'm like, you know, you can't keep getting away with making me feel like shit. And she's like, I'm not making you feel like shit, and I'm perfectly fine by myself. I'm like, you know what? No, fuck this. I'm done. I am done. I'm done with you, and I'm done with your bullshit. I am done with you, and I'm done with your bullshit. Stormed off. And then she did the thing that crossed the line. Instead of handling it like an adult, mature person, and honestly, I don't even know where this fuck this thing. Once again, I guess she sensed that I had ended it. She sensed that I had walked away from her, and then she probably felt bad. I'm the villain? No, he's got to be the villain, so I'm gonna throw these wild, stupid, fucking insane accusations at me so that I can be justified and vindicated, and I'm not the villain. He's the villain. It's like, no, you're the villain. And then you go talk. I'm not gonna say what she did. All I know is that it was over the line. Shouldn't have happened. She shouldn't have done that. Everything could have been handled between the two of us. But she couldn't be mature enough to actually do that. She couldn't be mature enough to actually tell me to my face, even though I've given her time and time and time and time again to say it. But instead she doesn't want to be the bad guy, because she doesn't want to be the one to do it. She wants me to just get the signal, to pick it up subtly, she doesn't want to say the words. So I feel like I get in trouble, and I didn't even do anything. I walked away weeks ago, and I'm the one getting in trouble. I'm the one who is trying to be the mature adult, and I'm getting in trouble. I'm not the one whose final conversation was an attack on the other, throwing out accusations. No. So you can understand why I'd be so freaking angry. I was fucking so hurt and so betrayed once again by this woman. Once again. And I still care about her. And I still love her. What the fuck, man? I wish I didn't. Oh my God, how much I wish I didn't love this woman. How so much I wish I didn't care about her. And I'm sure all these dating app failures and scammers and people who want money and online prostitutes, my God, just, hi, how you doing? Oh, it's like, hey, you want to meet? Yeah, oh, cool, that's great. It's like, here are my charges. I'm like, fuck, what? Every time I start to fucking believe, every time it's some bullshit. It's some scam. It's not what it is. Every fucking time. Every time I start to believe, I'm not ready for a relationship. But here, let me string you along for 2 years. And then fucking stab you. But then again, I guess that's what I wanted her to stab me. I wanted it to end because the crazy thing was there was a lot of relief when that happened. Because at least I finally knew where I stood. I finally had a definitive answer. Now things are super awkward, and now I have to see her 4 times a week. And all I wanted was just stop hurting. That's all I wanted was just stop hurting. That's all I wanted, just to stop hurting. Apparently that's too much to fucking ask for. So now it's just pain and sadness, regret, and anger, and resentment. And now I'm wondering if I'm hurting her by being alive. And I'm feeling bad that her work experience, she obviously doesn't like working there. And I used to be one of the bright spots. Now I'm like one of the reasons she's miserable. And I hate that. And so now I wonder, oops, sorry about that. Hit the microphone. New microphone, by the way. But now I'm like, should I avoid her so that she can have a better experience? Once again, I'm putting her feelings above my own, and it's like, no, stop it. Like just the other day, I was gonna go somewhere, and she was there talking with some people, and I'm like, wait like 5 minutes. She's now talking to these people. It's like, what am I doing? This is fucking childish. I'm just gonna go walk past her, do what I have to do. Shouldn't have to play these games. We're fucking adults here. I shouldn't have to run and hide every time I see her, and she shouldn't have to run and hide every time she sees me. But I don't want to get in trouble. That was just super fucking awkward. And once again, it's wearing on me. It's like, I can't fucking get away. And I can't find someone to replace her. And I don't want to hate her. And I'm not... I can't convince myself I don't have feelings for her, because God knows it's true, I have feelings. In the end, I just want things to be good. I don't have to be able to talk to her. But I wish things were between us that we could at least acknowledge each other's existence, not run away from each other, not have bad blood, be able to say hi and treat each other like human beings, and not even say hi, just be decent, like, be able to occupy the same space for a brief amount of time without whatever. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours. Holy shit. I knew this was going to be a long one, but there's a lot to it. I'm actually feeling better right now, honestly. She's definitely not the person I thought she was. Maybe, she was never the person that I thought she was. But it's what it is. I gotta live with this situation now. And yes, I made a whole bunch of mistakes, and I should have walked away a whole lot longer ago. And I shouldn't have listened to my heart as much as I did, and I shouldn't have led with my heart as much as I did. I should have tried to let my mind, and I made a million mistakes. I realized that this is not, all on her. It's takes two to fuck things up. And we both made tons of mistakes, and we both stopped communicating with each other, like meaningfully communicating with each other, a long time ago. And when that happens, when communication breaks down, that's when shit like this happens. I don't even know if I'm going to post this. I don't even know if my video camera or my phone is still recording this, because it's almost 2 hours, and I don't know if it has that much time. I don't know if the battery's that robust. It's probably dead. Anyways. I guess if I had a chance to talk to her again, I would, of course, ask her, like, what lies did I say? And then she can tell me, and then I can debunk that, because I know I didn't tell any lies. I didn't. And then I would also say, look, I don't hate you. I am angry with you, but I do still care about you, and I still want you to be good. And I hope that hit this microphone, and I hope that one day you can forgive me, even though and I hope one day I can forgive you. And I hope you have a good life. And I hope you are able to obtain your dreams. And I don't want you to suffer. I don't want you to go through bad things. And I have some fears for you. And I have some worries about you and the way you're going about things and some of your philosophical outlook on life right now. And I'm afraid that you'll end up in a similar situation that I am in. And I don't want that for you. And I hope I'm wrong. And I hope I'm wrong about it. I hope I am wrong in that the way you're doing things and the way you're going about things is successful for you. And you find your peace and you find your happiness. I truly hope that I don't want to be right about this. I don't. Unfortunately, when it comes to bad things and me having premonitions about bad things, I tend to be way more right about them than I am wrong. But I wish you the best. Honestly, I wish you the best. And I hope one day you can look at me and not be angry, remorseful, regretful, what I'm talking about. I mean, I think she hates me. Or she probably hates me, honestly. She probably hates me. She thinks I'm a liar and a manipulator. She probably thinks I'm a womanizer, too. It's just like crazy. I wish I was a womanizer. I could forget about you and have all these... Right. Well, anyways, so now you know why I didn't do the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror last year, because I was just not in a good spot emotionally, and I'm still not in a good spot emotionally. This, plus all the dating app failures, everything is just wearing so hard on me, and I just hope that this year brings something better, something new. So that's it. Thanks for listening to me. If you made it through the whole thing, thanks. I'm cool. I appreciate it. Love you guys, really I do. And hopefully I'll do something more with this channel this year somehow. Until then, you guys stay safe, internet. I love you. Bye.